Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name's Jane. It's lovely to have you here. And today I'm going to be talking about something that has cropped up inside the studio and which I thought would be a really good topic for a Friday film. So the studio is my online community, and this film is inspired by a post that was made by one of the studio members, Sue, last week. So Sue wrote that October had seemed to whiz by, and yet there was no changes outside. You know, it hadn't been cold enough for the leaves to change, and it was just kind of like something or nothing. And she felt that her creative practice, her creativity, pretty much the same. It was neither something nor nothing, and she was looking for input and advice from other members. And she said that what she feared was that it would never, ever return. And I felt for Sue, and I also knew what she meant. It's not this kind of tearing your hair out, I have no inspiration, I'm feeling down kind of thing. It's just a neutrality, not very exciting kind of thing. And this was a topic that clearly resonated with a lot of people, because within hours, the thread had filled up with lots of advice, lots of comments, lots of people saying, oh, me too, that happens. Lots of generosity, lots of care. And I thought, what I should do is I should share all of this community wisdom over on YouTube. So before we get into solutions, I thought it would probably be useful to talk about what is going on here. What is at the heart of the problem? Because Sue's comment about the leaves, it wasn't just a pretty analogy. It was really at the heart of the matter, because we have an expectation in our heads that seasons move, that they change, that there's always something happening. We have the expectations of our own creativity, our making, our drive to do things as being something that should be always on the move. Whereas in fact, ecosystems are not like that. Everybody needs in-between times, fallow spaces, the kinds of moments, whether that moment is 10 minutes or whether that moment is a month, where things kind of coalesce and compost and prepare for the next bit. So out in the dye garden at the moment, everything kind of just looks as though it's finished and that nothing is going on at all. You know, I cleared some toppled sunflowers and there is bare earth or compost there. It looks like nothing's going on at all. But actually, all of the connections, the taking the mulch down, the making mycorrhizals, the composting, everything that is going to prepare that earth for next year's crop, for next year's growth, is busily going on out of sight. I don't know what is happening, but I trust that it is. So one member talked about doing nothing, washing the dishes, using her hands to do things that weren't creative, and just letting the expectation go of having a notebook by her side so that if there are sparks, she can write them down. They might come into some future project, but just not worrying. And another member wrote about how it's almost like the sun, when she goes to bed at night, she doesn't worry that the sun will rise in the morning. It's just a given. And in the same way, when she has these periods of creative fallowness, she doesn't worry about it coming back. And that really resonated for me, that this is a cycle. This is a seasonal thing. This is something that we need in our lives to progress. And I suppose that's it, really. We trust that the sun will rise, and the moon will do its cycles, and the leaves will eventually turn and fall. But sometimes, in the midst of it, it's really, really difficult to trust that our own creative practice will return. So what happens if we don't trust that? If we panic about this lack of creativity? Well, it's a few things, I think. The first is that we might try and force ourselves. We'll go, oh, I've bought all of these supplies. I'm just being lazy. I never finish anything. I just need to do it. And first of all, that would take joy out of everything. You're adding in guilt. Guilt quashes creativity. It just doesn't work. Second thing that we sometimes do is to go the opposite way and just start buying more supplies in the hope that novelty might carry us over the hump. And it might, but it very rarely does. This is a kind of a problem that doesn't need even more things in your craft supply cupboard. And the third thing that we're often drawn to is ramping up comparison. So looking on Instagram and Pinterest more and comparing ourselves to other people and thinking that they are more productive, they are more creative, they are just more wonderful, and making ourselves feel worse, making ourselves feel guilty. And this is one of the reasons that I think that a proper creative, regular community works, because you can see everybody and they're not all making things, they're not all buying new things, they're not worrying. It's just nice and down to earth. And one member, Teresa, said that she was really at the beginning of her creative journey and often felt that she was maybe a bit behind or didn't have the skills, and she was just starting out. But that being part of a community that made her feel that that wasn't an issue at all, gave her the confidence to keep going, keep showing up. And that's what we need. So what can you do? These are the things that have been suggested by the community, and I think that they cover absolutely everything. So first, sit with it. Just accept that these creative fallows, this creative composting, is something that happens, and allow it to happen. Keep your hands busy. People suggested, doing the dishes, clearing space, tidying, something that keeps your hands busy but isn't creative. Washing the dishes is not glamorous, but you have that kind of dirty, clean rhythm. I often reorganise my windowsills of stones and kind of thing. And the second thing that came up a lot is connected, I think, to this, and that is being outside or walking without agenda. Just the rhythm of your feet, the not going anywhere, not having anything particular to do, not listening to an audiobook, not being there to take photos, just going out on a short stroll and seeing what comes up. And the third thing that came up was having a stash of no decision projects. This idea that actually losing your creative mojo is sometimes something that is caused by decision fatigue. The fact that you are starting out something, or you have hit a block, or you don't know what to do next. And that all of these little decisions contribute to it. So by having some projects which require no decisions, they're easy to pick up, put down. They're not driving you forward. They're not, amazing things necessarily, but they are enough to keep your hands moving, keep your hands working, keep you within the daily creativity thing. And one maker said that she has two different kinds of projects that she always has on hand, and one will be a very creative project. It will be something that she is devising herself, that she's making decisions about herself. She doesn't know what's coming next, and that's kind of like quite an exciting project. And then she will have something that is a kit, preferably with as few choices as possible. And when she finds that that kind of creative decision making is too much, she goes back to the other kit where everything's pre-cut and she's just making. So all of these, the first three things are really just different ways of saying that if you are in the creative fallows, don't blame yourself, accept it, try and keep your hands busy doing something. Cut yourself some slack, go for a walk, do the dishes, pick up a needle and thread for something really, really simple. And then someone made a comment that really moved me, and this was a connection between creativity and surfing. Now, I'm not a surfer, but even I could get the analogy. And she saw her creativity as being like surfing. So that sometimes she was on the crest of a wave, but a lot of the time she was paddling, keeping active, waiting for the next wave. And that during those kind of downtime, paddling, keeping busy but not soaring times, she would maybe do a meditation, scroll with slow stitching, or she would learn a new stitch, waiting for the next wave of creativity to come, as it would. And I think this is such a great picture that those waves will keep rolling in. So if the fear is that they won't, it dispels that. But also that creativity wouldn't be exciting, surfing wouldn't be exciting if you were on top of the wave all the time. You have to have that period of contrast, the preparation, the composting, the time when your brain and your mind and your body all are waiting and collecting together. And the fifth topic that came up was the idea of cycling through different interests. And that as creativity is going to be an ebb and flow, you should see it as a chance to try lots of different things, and lots of things which will use different parts of your brain. So he was saying that one of the things that he loves about fiber arts is that not all of it is creative. A lot of it is physical doing, the spinning, the knitting, the carding. All of these things go into a project, and not all of them are what you would call creative. They're all making things, they're all using your hands, but there is no fear of some kind of the mojo leaving. It's just a routine kind of doing. I think that that is very true and also very reassuring. And all through these things, these suggestions, there was flowing a sense of community, which is subtle but really, really powerful. So that when Sue came and she posted her problem, people didn't rush in to solve it or to fix anything. They came forward saying, yes, this happens to me too. I often have nothing to show. There is no, showing off or competition or pushing. There is just a lot of people saying, yes, that is how it is. That is normal. Your creativity will return. One thing that came up a lot in this discussion was the recommendation of Catherine May's book, Wintering, which is a wonderful read. Do go and read it if you like. And that resonated with me a lot because I was once a fellow guest on a podcast called We Will Rebuild Her. There was me and there was Catherine May, and we were talking about the need for slowing down in life. And it's a wonderful podcast. So I'll put the links underneath here. So to come back to where we were in the beginning, Sue's leaves in the Isle of Wight still haven't changed. We've not all been flooded with a new burst of creativity. But what we're doing is we are just sitting with it and keeping busy and not chasing it. We're resisting the urge to beat ourselves up. We are resisting the urge to go shopping or to do a kind of comparison doom scroll on Pinterest or Instagram. And instead we are having faith that this period is as essential to our creativity as when we catch that wave and go soaring. So if you are in this position and you're just feeling that things are a little flat creative-wise and you are frightened that this is it forever, you've lost the creative spark, you've lost something, just be reassured that that is not the case, and that you just need to wait, to keep busy, to treat this as a period where things are growing and connecting out of sight, where your brain is composting everything it sees, putting it away, and that soon there will be new shoots of growth. Let me know if this resonates at all in the comments, if you've got any suggestions as to what you do. And until next Friday, bye bye.